Hey, Mel. Hey, Michelle.
Hey Mel, how you going? I know we're trying to peer around the edge, and I'm going the wrong way.
Yeah.
Anyway, pardon us,
Good to
viewers, as
see
we
you.
muck around. Yeah, you too. You too. It's been a big week of travel for you, by the sound of it.
Yeah. I went to a conference this week down in Florida, conference that attracts all kinds of different water professionals. That was a good time. So, yeah, just flew back earlier today and happy to get to join you on a live.
Indeed, indeed, and like you, well, I haven't travelled anywhere this week, but I've done this last couple of weeks. I've done live and in-person workshops and forums for my clients. And apart from the fact that I'm really still not very match fit for half day and full day things, because I came home from one and I went, oh my God, my feet have got a postcode of their own. They were so sore from standing up. But really cool to be in a room with or rooms with real live people, not on boxes on screen. So it's been very cool.
Yeah, oh my
So
goodness. And yeah, with live events and everything, yeah, if you're a woman, you know what it's like. You got to have comfortable shoes. And I did a bad job
yeah.
packing this week, I'll say that.
Well, I did some time ago. I made a switch to completely flat shoes, and Mel, I'm a big fan of sneakers. So I have a growing sneaker collection. So I wear flat shoes. I do a Serena Williams now. I've got these beautiful shiny Converses, sparkly Converses, a silver pair and a gold pair that I even wear to formal events. So there you go.
I
It's a
love that. So
lifestyle.
listen, I didn't know that about you until you came to the States and we had our event, right? And then you came in with those sparkly shoes and I was like, that's amazing. That's a great way to go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There you go. There you go. So I want to talk today about the three C's, Mel.
Yeah. So this concept, this observation that women do a lot of unpaid labor, that's come up for me recently. And so I wanted to ask you to kick us off, Michelle, talking about just that, the three C's. So really the broad area where we hear about and talk about the unpaid labor that women do.
Yeah, so the three C's, viewers and listeners, that's my terminology: cooking, cleaning, and caring. Which, when you expand out to in the household and then more broadly into society, particularly caring, 77% of that is still done. That unpaid work is still done by women in the world, and it's something that really irks me, and I talk about a lot because gender equality and gender equity means sharing all parts of the way we live life. Um, and that expectation that women will step into the three C's, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's in the home, or more broadly in society, still prevails. And it's something that we all have to pay attention to. And every single person can do something about it, no matter what gender they are, and what their status is. Every one of us can take action. And it's really important to do that.
Yeah, we've shared this before, and there was a New York Times article not long ago that did this look at if we set a dollar amount, a low one even, of minimum wage and applied that to all of the unpaid labor hours for women in the US and globally, the value of that work exceeds many billions of dollars. And so it
Mm.
just goes to illustrate there's it, it's not invisible, but it's work that we don't give enough credit to in our society. We don't pay attention to as much as we should. And
Agreed.
there's a couple of ways that, sorry, go ahead, Michelle.
Yeah, so I want to build on that too, in terms
Mm,
of, so here in Australia we talk about the feminized industries, the caring industries,
mm,
and it's front of mind for me because clearly gender equity is my day every single day, driving for workplaces that have equitable outcomes for all genders. But and it's also very, very close to home to me because my daughter is a school teacher, and teaching nursing, caring, those professions are seen as feminised in Australia, so dominated by women, and they are the lowest paid professions. We've got a really great social commentator here in Australia called Jane Caro. I highly recommend people follow Jane on Twitter. She's less prevalent on LinkedIn, but certainly on Twitter. She writes a lot about particularly education and the system of education, but she's a great feminist and talks about that just the sheer inequity in who we have looking after our most vulnerable people in society, our little people, our older people, our sick people, and those people that, of course, that we stood on our balconies and clapped for all during the COVID pandemic. I used to just go, oh, please don't clap them, give them a bloody pay rise. So, these feminized industries are also significantly underpaid as compared to the masculine industries, mining, construction, manufacturing. So, we've got this, I like to look at the systems. We've got this systemic expectation that the three C's is done by women and either not paid for or paid less. So it's a really important issue.
Absolutely. And I want to talk today about something that has come up a couple of times recently from people in my network. So is it okay if I segue here now?
100%.
Okay. All right. So I work in an industry that you could describe a few different ways. It's the water industry, it's the environmental industry, it's engineering, and there's a lot of different kinds of professionals in the industry, right? So there's engineers, there's scientists, there's planners, there's uh, local government people, administrators, project managers, operators, etc. A really diverse kind of set of professionals. And I've had a couple of people in my network recently bring up, let's say, opportunities to volunteer your time to help kids in STEM programs of some sorts. And we've seen a lot of companies in spaces like engineering that, that we give ourselves a nice pat on the back when we volunteer a little bit to help some kids, build their toothpick bridge or, whatever it is, right? And I am not saying that those things are not valuable. They are valuable. However, when we move into a place where we expect women to do additional unpaid labor to accommodate the need to share with kids about these types of career paths and whatnot, we're missing something really important. So from my perspective, and I think Erica Jefferson would agree with me on this. If you're not following her on LinkedIn, she's the founder of Black Women in Science and Engineering. You should definitely follow her. We receive requests for volunteering our hours, and it feels incongruous because when you look at the STEM industries, there's still a really big gender gap. We have not reached gender parity across engineering and certainly not across sciences. And in engineering, it's even more nuanced than that because the research showed, and this is pre-pandemic, the research shows that nearly 40% of women who earn engineering degrees exit the field or never enter it to begin with. And when the researchers dug into the reasons for why that is, they found that many of the reasons, most of them, were related to cultural issues in the industry. So the point that I want to make here is that I do a lot of work for supporting women who are in the industry, and that's deliberate because once women get in these industries, they don't have the support that they need to succeed and thrive. That's why they're leaving. So, juxtapose these opportunities to volunteer with the fact that the conference that I just went to, we had a whole half day that was dedicated to workforce challenges, right? Everybody's willing to
Yep.
raise their hand when they say, you know, we can't find talent, we can't find engineers, we can't find operators, etc. And people like me are sitting here saying, what are you doing to ensure that your workplace culture is welcoming to women and underrepresented minorities? And what are you doing to make sure the culture is going to help those people thrive? I want to see you do
Yep.
that before I see you shunting people off to volunteer for STEM programs. Because why are we encouraging kids to go into these programs if we can't support
Mm.
them effectively once they get here?
Mm. And so what if I'm a person watching us now or listening later or whatever, what is the thing you want people to do? What's the call to action here, Mel? Because we can shake our fist at the sky at inequity and poor behaviour and all that kind of stuff. So if I'm a good person that says, you know what, I really want to do something about this. And thank you, Trina, for chiming in with one of my favourite comments. One of her professors told her that she needs a wife. I'll talk about that in a moment as well. But so thank you, Trina, for chiming in. What do we get people to do, Mel?
Right. So the call to action here is, I guess we can take it a couple of ways. So first, I want to say to the women in the workforce out there that if you didn't listen to our Lead to Soar episode with Cindy Gallup, please go back and listen to that recent episode with Cindy. It's a really important message for you on getting paid, how to get paid. It's worth your time. One of our listeners said worth every millisecond. So glowing endorsement. And then the other big calls to action here, I think, are for leaders who have authority, etc. There's many action items, right? And I will list a couple, and then I would defer to you, Michelle, because you are the gender equity expert in here. Okay. So there's auditing, there's talking to your people. So auditing, where are women in your organization? Is there gender equity at each level in the organization? If not, why not? There's talking to your people about how they feel about things. And I don't think the best way to do that is through an online survey. I think you need to have human interaction. Go talk to people, show them you care, ask questions, and then keep your mouth shut and listen.
And I have a guide. I have a guide for that. I have a guide about how to listen to women, particularly how to listen to women in your organisation. I'll put the link in the notes. Sorry, Mel, go on.
Okay, so then the last one that I will highlight is that we know there's oodles of research that shows that women are over-mentored and under-sponsored. Another way you might say that is women are under-mentored and then not getting strategic mentorship, which is to say they're not getting guidance and coaching in business, strategic, and financial acumen. These are the tools and the areas of expertise that any professional needs to develop to get to the highest levels of an organization. And if you're just having little mentor conversations with women every now and then in your organization and patting them on the back and telling them good job, if it stops there and women are not getting the coaching that they need to grow and thrive as a leading professional, then there's a very big gap.
Yep. So I'm going to be more specific. In fact, I'm going to
take it away.
I'm going to be really explicit. Stop asking women to do stuff for free. If I'm worth it, pay me. Now, we ask women, and I've got to tell you, women of colour, Black women, Latino women, Asian women are more prone to being asked to do office housework, so non-promotable tasks. Leaders who are listening, stop asking women to do non-promotable tasks. It needs to be shared equitably. So if there's a cleanup to do, if there's a party to organise, if there's, hello, it's Christmas coming up, Thanksgiving's just been, if there's a Christmas card list or presents, share it equitably amongst all genders, not just the women. And leaders appoint people to do it, because if you ask for volunteers and there's that deadly silence, it will be a woman, and most likely a woman of colour who we know this from research, who will step forward and say, I'll take that task on, that non-promotable task. So stop doing that. I want you to start, as Mel said, listening to women, but I also want you to start paying women for their jobs. And that means women like me who show up in service of other women and girls. It is okay to say, frankly, it is okay for me to say, this is my profession. I expect to be paid for my expertise, my 57 years of expertise, and my 40 years of professional expertise, and particularly the 10 years of work I've done to be an expert in my field. I expect to be paid for that. If I choose to do something pro bono, if I choose to contribute, my philanthropic efforts are around supporting women and girls in sport. I do a lot, and I don't expect to be paid for that. But if you're asking me to share my wisdom, my experience, my expertise to help you shape your career, your business, etc., I want to be paid. Now, Melissa, who's on the call, says she feels like she has to do it for visibility at times. Absolutely, but Melissa, it's your choice. I make strategic decisions about where I show up and what I expect to get from that. But that's my choice, and I don't want that taken away from me. So if you are an event organizer, and I'm not talking about not-for-profits and women's groups that are, running on the smell of an oily rag, but if you're an event organizer, if you're a person who's looking for executive coaching, pay women. And I've got to say, I am so pissed off because I've had numerous occasions where I've shown up for nothing and I've seen a man getting paid for doing exactly what I've been doing. So I'm sorry. Pay us, or don't take the choice away from us. If I want to volunteer my time, I'm going to do that. I had a conversation with someone a week ago, and she said, I really want you to be involved in this particular thing that I'm doing. And she said, I'm going to talk about budget. So I said, if it's for you and you're not for profit, I said, I'm going to turn up for nothing because I support you and I support your cause. But if your organisation's going to fund it, I expect to be paid because they're a corporation and they can afford me. So, but don't take my choice away. Don't take women's choices away to be paid, because it's unfair and it's inequitable. And this is a real mindset shift that a lot of us have to, it's unlearning. We have to unlearn stuff, that she'll show up, be kind, compassionate, nurturing, do stuff for free, get shit done. Oh, women are so good at organising. Bullshit. We're so good at organising because we are given the organising to do a lot. Sorry, don't take my choice away. Give me the choice of being paid or not. If I don't need to be paid, I'll make that choice.
Right. I've got a recent example of this, and I have another question for you. So I was approached not long ago by an employee resource group, or sometimes they're called business resource groups. So ERGs, BRGs. Yep. And they asked if I would come and speak to their group. They asked what my fee was. And I was like, well, first of all, tell me, does the parent company here actually support your group? Are they actually providing funding for you for this? And the reason I asked that question is because if the company supports them, then yes, I want to be paid. But if they're bootstrapping this and they're, doing this all on their own, that is a case where I'll say, I will do this pro bono for you. Yeah. No problem.
Yeah.
So that is, I think, what you mean here, Michelle, by
100%.
Give us a choice, yep. Right?
Yep.
Okay, so let's circle back now to something you and I were talking about before we came live here. You had a recent encounter with someone, and this really illustrates the societal expectation that people have, and it can go unquestioned, but it needs to be addressed sort of head on. So I wonder if you might describe that to us.
Yeah, so I got a message from a woman in my network earlier this week, which really disturbed, frankly, upset me and hurt me because it started off with what was clearly going to be a request for some help or what have you, and then turned into, oh, I see that you do this professionally now. I'm so disappointed in you because you ask for money to mentor people, which I got to tell you, I don't, because I don't mentor one on one. I have a career network, which is how I support women, and I am a professional speaker, gender equity expert, etc. But this message went on into an absolute blast, which in summary was, how dare you ask to be paid to give your advice? I'm so disappointed in you. And viewers, if you don't like foul language, just block your ears now, because I just went, fuck you. I was, and I've got to say, and we set off there, I was really hurt and offended, and I went, this is the issue, because I have a job. I have a job. I want to get paid, and this person made an assumption because I'm a woman, I would naturally give my time for free. Do you know what the reality was? I probably would have anyway, because I'm a generous person. I give a lot of women a lot of advice. I don't expect to get paid for it, but and I just thought, why did this upset me so much? I was really upset by it for the whole day. And, as I do, I reflect. I'm going, why did this press my buttons? It pressed my buttons because here we go. So this wasn't a man. This was a woman who had a slash at me because she assumed I had the temerity to ask to be paid for the work and the expertise that I do. So, yeah, I just went,
Yeah.
there it is. There it
Well,
is.
and this in a country, Australia, where what group makes up the largest growing population of homeless people?
Women over 55, women my age, women who
Yep.
look like me. Yeah. In fact, they don't look like me. They look like all sorts of different, yeah, women my age. So I'm 57 years old. So women, the fastest growing group of homeless people are women over 55, and they are not necessarily the people you see sleeping rough in the streets, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Homelessness is a whole bunch of different things. They might be staying with their kids or a friend, or couch surfing, or living in their car, or whatever. It is extraordinary. And this is because of systemic underpayment of women and women's labour over the course of their entire life. So they end up in poverty. And it's another subject that Jane Caro writes about a lot. She's an expert in this area. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we've got to do better. Got to do better.
Yep, absolutely. And there's so much about this conversation that reminds me of talking with Cindy, right? Because one of the things that she talked about was, hey, women out there that are professionals, if if you don't want to get paid for you, get paid for the rest of us, because by getting paid your maximum worth, you pave the road for all of the women who come behind you. You can um, pull your resources together over time and have the ability to support other women philanthropically or just supporting their businesses. Having
Yep.
resources gives you choices. So again, I want to plug the Cindy Gallup episode of Lead to Soar. Go back and listen to that. You can find it at leadtosoar.com or any place you download podcasts. So Michelle, to kind of get us to a wrap up here, do you have any other call to actions you want to put out there for leaders?
Well, yeah. So for the leaders, so in fact, the call out to women is, if you don't feel in a position to ask to be paid for the work that you're doing, contact us and we will help you. That's what we do. We will surround you and give you the confidence, but give you the frameworks to be able to use the words and the phrases and feel strong enough in your own ability to ask to be paid what you're worth.
Mm.
For leaders, start to look at the equitable distribution of money and tasks. That's it. Is it equitable? Am I giving more money to men? Am I giving more unpaid tasks to women? It's as simple as that. Those are the questions to ask.
Great. Thank you so much, Michelle. All right.
Pleasure. I'll put lots and lots of links in the notes, folks, so that you can find Erica Jefferson, Jane Caro, the podcast with the episode with Cindy Gallup, and the one about avoiding office housework. So, yeah,
Mm.
but you can tell by the energy that we're really, really focused on this. This is a societal issue that has to be resolved, but every single one of us can take action every
Yep.
single day.
Absolutely. Go forth, and ladies, get paid.
100%. All right. See you, Mel. See you, folks.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Bye.